The past of a troubled wizard catches up to him as his new companions try to decide whether or not he is friend or foe. Meanwhile, a dashing pirate captain struggles with a sicky tummy. Ladies and gentlemen, misfits and malcontents, please join us as we discuss episode 5 of The Mighty Nein. What's happening, troops? Welcome back to another episode of the Withmates podcast with me, your host, Joseph Bowden, the person who knows some things about Dungeons and Dragons, and more importantly, this show where we listen to a bunch of nerdy-ass voice actors who played Dungeons and Dragons, and then those nerdy-ass voice actors made a show about their Dungeons and Dragons show, which is now one of the best animated shows I've seen in a long, long time. But as I am your host, your dungeon master for this episode, joining me are my two adventurers. He is the way of the open palm. It is Polysmack Paul Stirrett.
Hey, I roll for a smack, please.
Roll for a smack, please, Paul. What did you get?
And I get, it's a perfect 20. Would you look at that?
That's not the terminology. That hurts me deeply.
And
in
me.
my core.
And me.
I'm still learning, folks. I'm still learning.
And Paul, can you choose for me 1, 2, 3, or 4 for this next introduction, please?
I'll go with 4.
4. And the man who causes lycanthropies to go feral under the full version of him, it's Craig Andrew Full Mooney. Welcome to the podcast, gentlemen. How are you both doing?
All I've got to say, Joseph, is can't a young woman express herself without being accused of being promiscuous? That's all I've got to say.
Yeah. We'll address this at the top of the episode. So, hi. Hi, my name's Joe. I sometimes say words that I forget the meanings to, and we're all fallible. We're all human being here. I meant sheltered, as many people have pointed out to me in the comments. I'm a doofus. Moving on.
We're rolling it. It was an intentional choice, Joseph, but you meant promiscuous for adventure, is what I think you meant. You just forgot to add
for
in.
adventure. Keen for adventure, and
yes.
I think what I meant was dirty-minded. I think that was the phrase I meant to say.
There we go.
But instead, I forgot the phrase promiscuous and said dirty-minded instead. It's not the first time I have mixed my words up, nor will it be the last. That's what happens when we do these things improvised off the top of your head. I'm not a trained improviser. Shut up. So, gentlemen, before we talk about the Mighty Nein, episode 5, how are we both doing today? Are we both feeling promiscuous today?
Every day, Joseph. Every fucking day.
Every minute, on the hour, daily, nightly, and ever so
rightly.
Mm-hmm.
Can't stop feeling promiscuous. But jokes aside, thank you to everyone who did comment on the last episode and the cold open from last episode. It's very appreciated. Thank you for those who have joined the squad as well. It is very much appreciated, and with your help, I will stop saying words incorrectly. Thank you very much. I was once laughed at by a waiter for pronouncing the word goujons googoonis. That happened to me in a restaurant, and my family bring it up every opportunity they get. So I don't know why I told that story. Anyway, moving on. The Mighty Nein, episode 5. We join our motley crew, the Mighty Nein. They've broken out of prison to subdue this Volstrucker assassin. Bo interrogates her brutally, but as the questioning ramps up, Bo's suspicions turn to Caleb as his connection with the Empire and dark past are unraveled. Our two gentlemen here are going to give us our non-spoiler thoughts before we crack into discussing the episode, and we'll see what they have gleaned from this particular interrogation system. Craig, can you start us off here, please? What did you think of the episode as a whole? Non-spoiler thoughts.
Stunning. That's one word for it. That's all I've got. Is it was stunning, and I mean, like, I've obviously watched all of Vox Machina up to this point as well. I said this to you guys in the chat. I think from a writing point of view, this was far and above anything that Vox Machina has done. From a storytelling point of view, all of those things, I thought this was sublime. So yeah, big fan of this episode. Easily the best episode of the season so far, and I cannot wait to talk about it with you. Cannot wait.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's the best episode of both series so far. Like, I completely agree with you there. My favorite thing about the episode is that the episode could be put on loop.
Yes.
And it kind of, I think it's utterly beautiful how it works. Mr. Smack, tell me, what was your thoughts on this, as Craig put it, stunning episode?
I thought it was lit. I thought it was totally lit.
Totally lit.
Because of the fire.
Because of the fire, yeah. Thank you, Paul.
Let's get those Gen Z guys. Let's get those Gen Z viewers. Come on. Come on.
We're allowed to make these jokes when at least one of us is still in their 20s.
But not
it's
for
not us.
much longer.
Not for long. You thought this episode was lit. What about this episode did you believe was lit?
You mean besides the actual fire?
Besides the
Careful.
fire.
No spoiler warning yet.
Without spoilers, was this the pacing of the episode? Was it the dialogue? Was it the backstory? What was it about the episode that you, Polysmack, considered lit?
Not to lean into the previous chat about promiscuity, but I was quite fond of the tension. Tension is the word I think of, with in particular the scene with the chair. Hintity hint, what's going on there? I don't believe you, blah blah blah. I'm trying to say something without giving it away. Oh, I know something about you that you don't know. I'm gonna start breadcrumbing this, and you're not gonna pay attention, and things are gonna happen. That sort of stuff. Yeah, no, it's tension. Also tension with one of our boys isn't so feeling so well, and yeah.
We had a bit of an icky tummy.
Yes, you could say that. My only complaint, and I guess you just can't do it with every episode, is not enough Jester the Goblin. Not enough.
Jester the Goblin?
Yes.
Jester the Goblin.
Sorry, no. Brave, not the Brave.
Not the Brave, the Goblin.
There we go. Yeah, sorry, Jester's the
promiscuous tiefling.
You just As you can see, gentlemen, Jester is the fan favorite out of this campaign, and Paul, you have avoided ire by managing to correct yourself. I was not so lucky last episode. Overall, very positive thoughts on this fifth episode of an 8-episode season. For me, I'm thinking we're still very early days into this campaign. Where is it going to go? There needs to be a lot more seasons for the whole story to be told. But again, as far as adaptation goes, they were smashing a bunch of stuff together that works very well in this pacing. However, ladies and gents, variations thereupon, this is your spoiler warning for the episode. If you've not watched episode 5 of the Mighty Nein on Amazon Prime, titled The Little Spark, what are you doing? Get it watched. Go away. It's only 46 minutes long. That's like 2.5 Thomas the Tank Engine episodes. Get that watched, then come back and join us to talk about full spoiler details of the Mighty Nein. Hold on. Yeah, they're gone. Now it's the people who have watched it. So, gentlemen, we're into full spoiler territory. Focus is fully on Caleb Widogast, but as we now know him, Bran Ermintrout. Let's fully dive into that. Were we expecting him to be called something different? Were we expecting him to come from this he's like a farmer's son, like fledgling magician, and being swept away into the annals of high magocracy? Were we expecting this? Jump in.
The sort of almost I think it's almost Jedi-like, isn't it? He's away working somewhere, and then the big magic folk come and take him away from his parents.
Yeah, I suppose it is.
To study at the big magic college. So yeah, no, I thought it was good. I actually liked the whole introduction scene. It was interesting because normally in things like this, when another villager sees somebody do magic, it's like warlock, wizard,
It's taboo. It's
dark. Yeah. So in this world, it's just kind of. And I don't usually mind that. It's not really like a complaint, but it's different. So it's kind of nice to see just somebody go, huh, that was handy. That was useful. Thanks for fixing the fence. He's a magician. Cool. So that was different. And then the big archmage dude comes and he sits down and Ickathon, the big ick, and the big ick, and the cat scratches his hand.
I think at some point in the campaign, Jester does refer to Trent Ickathon as Trent Ickython for a large portion of discussions, which when because I watch with subtitles, I like every time I see it written down, I'm just thinking, Ickython.
My mind would have went there too.
How's your opinions changed on Trent Ickathon, Craig? Because you had your prediction last week was Trent, he's like a season 1 villain. Has that changed, or has that solidified your opinion of Trent?
Oh, here we go. Get in the comments, folks. This is solidified it, because I think because I think that we've really set up the fact that he has done this damage to Bren, as we now know him, Caleb. Like, he's done that. He is very much, I would say, his tormentor, his abuser, his torturer. He is that, and now we've seen the extent of how he corrupted him, manipulated him, to eventually doing what he did later in the episode, which we'll talk about, I'm sure. But I do feel still that this is a case of it. I might be backtracking slightly and saying maybe it's not going to be a season. Now that you've just said it, maybe the pacing is actually quite slow in compared to the campaign. And not slow, I mean, like, we've not got as far in the campaign as we might have done by now.
Yeah.
Perhaps it's going to be a 2-season thing, but I still don't think he is the overall what will come in at the end and be their big final battle.
He's not the big bad.
Yeah. I still feel like I've got 2 theories. Number 1, it's something to do with the Dark Elves, or number 2, it is actually Essek himself who completely goes off the deep end and becomes the big bad. But that's my current working theory at this point. But yeah, okay. What I liked about the opening and showing Bren's kind of humble beginnings, I enjoyed, as Paul said, the fact that it was kind of seen as like, oh, this is like a special thing. It is very much a case of, like, back in the day when you had the Jedi, like, oh, our son's a Jedi. This is a big honor. This is a great honor to have a magic person in the family. And look at what you can do with it. Like, you can go off and earn a great wage, send that back to us. That's going to be a good thing for everybody, for the whole village. Turns out not to be. But that's the kind of vibe. And I really enjoyed as well the scene with Trent and kind of showing how he uses his charm to kind of win people over and kind of manipulate people. I really enjoyed that kind of aspect to him that was kind of seen more of in this episode. And as always, the cat is always right. That cat scratched. Also,
yes, I thought that was a really good note for the cat.
And I can't talk about the cat without getting a bit emotional, because oh my god.
Yeah. So
Fuck me.
When we watched this last night, myself and our wonderful editor Lara, she found the last sequence in this episode incredibly difficult to watch, as did I. We will get to that later. But funnily enough, a moment that has already been teased in the show from the opening credits. And it burns. It burns a lot, literally and figuratively. How did we feel about the obviously the setup with Frumpkin from the first couple of episodes that Caleb's trying to bring this cat back. How did we feel in like the foreshadowing of this episode and the subtle hints that we've got so far? Did things fall into place more? Did we feel it was like this was a complete eye opener for either of you? What did this episode do for Caleb in your eyes as a whole?
Definitely villainizes him a bit more for me.
Yeah.
Because I appreciate he was manipulated, but he still did it. So he's definitely more. He's more morally great to me. I don't really buy into he was completely helpless there. I think he had made the choice and that was what he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of sticks by it, but now he's sort of humming and hawing in between there. So I think something else has to. He's either had a guilty conscience after it and has done something stupid, or to invoke Big X's anger, or Big X just continues to be big, does a Big X and steals some of his power or something. In which case, he has just been completely played. But he's definitely sits further down on the old morality scale for me.
I think we can say that a lot about the Mighty Nein as a whole. They're not exactly the paragons of heroism, say like Vox Machina are. And I think, as kind of what we discussed last episode, it makes for a more compelling character that they kind of tread that line between what's morally good, what are they doing for own selfish reasons. And I think there's a line that, as we jump to like more modern day with Mollymock, he says later on, and kind of like, I think they used the clip in the trailers for the Mighty Nein about essentially saying, look at how disastrous we all are. What do you expect was going to happen? Which is a really nice little thing of kind of like how Mollymock is just living day to day.
And then somebody just looked around. I can't remember which character. What was it? Was it? I think his character's name's maybe Deadshot. And he looked around and he went, "Huh, what are we? Some kind of Suicide Squad? Something?"
Paul's never letting that go, is it? You're never letting that go, are you?
He hates it.
We flash back to the present within the show. They're outside the guardhouse and they begin fighting. Oh, what's her name? Oweya, something like that. I can't remember the character's name.
Yes,
it escapes me. But the halfling assassin, I believe she is.
Yes.
What a brilliant fight, choreography wise. I thought that was stunning. The way that they are pacing their fights within this series they've just ramped up from Vox Machina. The fights in there were great, but these are just stunning on a different level. I'm loving how they are portraying Caleb's magic, the component-based magic, translating it from the game into the show. It's utterly brilliant, because for those of you who are not familiar with D&D magic, you can either cast through a focus, which could be a wand or a holy symbol or a crystal orb, or you can use a component pouch and it's filled with like all the little beasts and bugs and fluff and dirt that Caleb has, and usually by each spell it will tell you what it uses. So like the spell Fireball has like, you need like a bit of bat guano and sulfur. And you use that to narratively say, I cast Fireball by combining together, bang, explosion, have 8d6 damage, and the dwarf NPC you were trying to find dies. That totally didn't happen to me in a game. Anyway, I love how they're portraying the component magic. I loved how they translated Bo's Stunning Strike, which is a monk ability where she completely went full, like, Avatar chi blocker and stunned the assassin. But then the one I want to speak about is Ford being poisoned. The spell that she cast to poison Ford was gruesome, and how immediately ill he got was both parts funny and just sickening. What did we think of the fight, boys? What did we think of like the results of the fight? Where were you seeing it going? Any thoughts on this?
I have a question about the Ford part. Was that a dodgy role, or was that a big role for Matt Mercer when he was fighting as her? Well, how come he got poisoned? Was that just
So I think he was given the poison condition, which gives you like a disadvantage on a bunch of things.
right?
It's difficult to hit the numbers you want to hit. And I think they kind of just like, I think he was poisoned for a lot of the combat. I cannot remember, because bear in mind, this campaign spanned like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's been about like 7 years since I've even gone back to like listen to these sort of things.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't quite remember this far back, but it's I think he was poisoned for the majority of a fight, or they're combining a bunch of fights into one, because they've skipped a bunch of plot points from their early levels,
Right.
which just obviously for the pacing of the show.
Mm-hmm.
So it could have been anything. It could have been just like, oh, let's have a funny way to have Ford be out of commission for a while to show he's not all that. Because when we first met him in the campaign, he was very suave, debonair. Everything was kind of happening for him. And then there's a few times the roles were really bad. And then they started playing that up for more of a, okay, maybe he's not all that there. I could be misremembering. Please, people, correct me in the comments down below.
But yeah, no, I
That's
enjoy.
kind of how that poison.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed that aspect of the episode because it kind of gave us a couple of things. It gave us a bit of insight into Ford for the other characters, because you kind of, especially Not, who was there with him for quite a while, kind of seeing, hang on, he's not maybe all he says he is, and kind of he was doing when he was having his nightmare and things like that. But also, more importantly, for Not herself, I thought that as a result of this episode and Ford and everything else, and also what happened with Caleb later on, she really started to become very interesting to me in this episode, and kind of what her kind of actual dynamic within the group is going to be, and especially with Caleb as well, and how she's kind of latched onto him in a certain way that I wasn't actually expecting. I wasn't expecting it to be that kind of vibe. I thought it was going to be kind of a more like a kind of friendship, or as even was it Bo that pointed out? No, someone pointed out in the episode, but she was like she thought she was a daughter.
Yeah, Bo was like, it's like a parent-child.
And it's like, no, but I'm the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the other way around, and Not sees herself as the mum, putting more fuel in the fire to Paul's theory that I think that she was a mum.
Yes.
And has lost.
Which is really interesting that Paul's kind of like come up with that, like maybe she's lost like a goblin child. Paul, did you feel vindicated in that moment?
Yes. No, I just thought, yeah, this is kind of what I was thinking, and it just confirmed my very accurate suspicions. I feel. So
all right.
I feel like we'll. I feel that I will be vindicated very, very soon. Yes. No, I liked. I also liked about the fight that Caleb, when he's trying, it goes for the fire, and that's kind of like his special. They can do other things, but his specialty definitely seems to be the fire, and that's kind of why Big Ick was interested in him in the first place. And I liked that the wee elf assassin was like a poison specialist. That seemed to be everything related to her, and it was cool seeing somebody being struck by that, because we have seen in previous episodes she has basically turned people to husks or skeletons with her poisons, so she is pretty deadly. So he must be a pretty healthy guy. At least it's not spread or something. That's probably what's awaiting Ford if he doesn't get the tea that Not so rightly got brewing for him.
And we had both Jester and Mollymock head out to find the tea, the little, what was it, basilisk tongue flowers to go and help cure the poison, which meant we got like the separation of the party, and everyone can kind of lump up together and go buddy copping for a while. There is a lovely, jumping ahead forward in the episode, there is a really, really lovely segment between Jester and Mollymock when they are walking through the woods trying to find these flowers. We get a little bit of more about Jester's god, the traveler, Molly's suspicions of the traveler, whether or not he is actually a god or an imaginary friend. And then we get some utterly beautiful animation with Jester that is just like, you can see why the animators on the show were fighting to animate her. That must have been so fun to do. Was there anything about this scene that kind of gave more credence to any of the characters, give you any more insights, Paul? Anything that you want to pick up on about this little conversation between the two?
I'm still torn about Mr. Traveller, because I'm like, are the little teddy bear magic, is that not part of him, or is that just her?
That's her magic.
Okay.
I can't remember what it's supposed to be, but like, I think when she had like spirit guardians or something, it was always like unicorn hamsters or something.
Uh-huh.
It's just about ways of essentially, like, a spell will go, this is what it does this damage, and you as the player gets to describe how it works. So for instance, it's kind of, think of it this way, Paul. Every Jedi, most Jedis have a lightsaber. You get to decide what it looks like.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Unless it's the new canon, and the color of the blade is.
I knew he was going to fucking correct me.
And the color of the blade is because the crystal wants to be that color. But I know you were talking about hilts as well, so that's fine.
Grow up. Yes,
if you are only interested in the Mighty Nein and have not listened to the Star Wars with Mates podcast, there is plentiful hate going on the Polysmack side of things. So do please check them out.
The hate flow through. Yeah, check them out. But obviously, with a lot of, take it with a whole bag full of salt. So, Craig, what's your thoughts on the Traveller? Is he real? Is he fake? What is he?
Still, I'm with Molly Mock at the minute. I've got a bit of skepticism still for the Traveller. I think there's something else going on for sure. I mean, I'm still with the theory that it's just imaginary and it's her. But I do like Paul's theory that he spouted last week about it being kind of a more maybe nefarious thing, where there might be a cult, and there might be other people who believe in the Traveller, and maybe he's not as good as he is cracked up to be. You know. So there's something I also really liked about that scene with Mollymock. I really enjoyed kind of exploring his psyche a bit more, and kind of like he's very much like, for someone who's lost everything, he kind of just takes things in his stride, doesn't he? For the most part. Yeah, he's still very chipper.
Yeah.
I'm just a bit suspicious of that, to be honest with you. I'm a little bit suspicious of that.
Must just be that Irish, like,
Irish
personality has just,
Irish.
just...
Irish.
There's one thing about Molly Mock that's it's not annoyed me, but I'm sad, and I understand why they've done it. When Taliesin Jaffe first described Molly Mock on the show, he described him pretty much looking the exact same way we see him in the show, bar the coat. And the coat itself, he described, quote, "I want it to be a cosplayer's fucking nightmare to make." And it's just a mishmash of beautiful patterns and gradients and fabrics. If I would say, no, don't look it up. I'll send you a photo in our group chat, because I don't want you to be spoiled for this show at all, because there's a lot of lovely stuff that will autofill when you search characters' names.
Mm-hmm.
So jury's still out on Molly Mock. Who is he? Jury's still out on the Traveller. But we'll jump back to something that the jury's pretty much set on. Chairs, gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
What do we think of them in this episode? Chairs.
I'm all for them. I've always liked chairs. I think you can sit on them, you can hit people with them. There's nothing you can't really do with a chair. You can tie people up to them.
You can tie people up to chairs. Craig, what do you think about chairs? Are they good? Are they bad? Has this episode showed chairs in a good light?
I think this episode has done a lot for the chair community. I really do. I think it's I think for a while it's been kind of sidelined. Tables have kind of taken over, and they really front and center for too long. And I think this kind of brings the chairs back in the spotlight. Make chairs great again. That's what I say.
Hell yeah.
We're not political. We had 3 wonderful, wonderful moments with chairs in this
Yes,
episode.
yes.
We'll talk about the first one. We'll talk about the interrogation, shall we?
Yes.
With Bo and Caleb.
Yes.
And the Volstrucker assassin. Oh no, not Volstrucker. The mage assassin. She's not Volstrucker. That's different.
Oh.
Craig.
Oh, is she not Vol?
Yeah.
Von...
So she's not a Volstrucker. Caleb was
Okay.
a Volstrucker.
Yeah.
She's just a magical assassin.
Oh, did she not have the green crystal arm?
She had
tattoos and a little.
She had them in her shoulder, didn't she?
Volstrucker?
She had them in her shoulder, didn't she? I swear that she had the marks on her shoulder.
She did.
Now, I
or top of her arm there.
Be misremembering here. As I double check my facts, because we're all about facts here on the With Me
yes,
podcast.
We do like it.
Talk to me about this interrogation.
Yes,
please, Craig. Tell me all about it and your thoughts.
So, from a writing point of view, this was sublime. It was a beautifully paced scene for a start. The way it built. The way the tension built between all 3 characters, the way that, like, the characters, the dynamic of the characters within the scene changed throughout the interrogation part was also fascinating to watch for a start as a viewer, but from me being a writing geek and all these kind of things, I loved how they did it. I loved how, for example, at the start of the scene we had Caleb and Bo very much aligned, talking about playing, bad monk, good monk, which again was quite funny, and a callback to the idea that we thought they were cops. Great. We had that at the start, and then just the slowly twisting the perspective of Bo to kind of by the assassin to kind of make her kind of just distrust Caleb more and more and more and more. And then using and the assassin doing exactly what she was doing. She was playing on Bo's insecurities by saying you're this is your first time. You're shit at this essentially, and then using giving her tips and like undermining her. And then you've then got her then going for Caleb using the native language so that Bo doesn't quite understand what's going on, feeding that paranoia until you eventually twist Bo around the other way and then turn them on each other until she can escape. And it was just the way it was done was just so beautiful to watch, and just as I say, just how it was structured from a if you obviously are a writer yourself or you know about the kind of technical aspects of writing, the way that scene was structured is a perfect example of how you do a 3-hander scene, 2 an interrogation scene, and also how to use a chair within a scene.
Yes. There's I loved it for all of those reasons and more. I love how they interspliced this scene throughout the episode as we dotted in flashbacks, calling to other characters. So we got this very long-paced interrogation scene going. As far as devising theatre goes, there's always a fucking chair that causes an issue, and this was one of the chairs in the episode that caused an issue. That was a theatre joke. I just had a double check there. Oelia, the halfling assassin, is a Volstrucker, as per the campaign lore. Don't know if it's changed in the series. However, fun little fact, she didn't appear in the campaign until episode 88.
Wow.
Which is like, yeah, that is, for episodes that are 4 or 5 hours long, roughly, that is so far down the line. And as I was saying, they've kind of taken things from further in the campaign, pulled it forward, and I think the way they're adapting it is beautiful. Paul, would you have done anything different in this interrogation scene if you were Bo, or if you were Caleb, or if you were Aurelia?
No, I personally thought the tying the metal band around her and setting that, heating that up was a pretty good touch, I think, you get no notes from me from that interrogation tactic there. I think, I'm curious. It actually got me thinking, like, there's a lot of scope for like that kind of scene in a world with magic and hands that can make you like freeze and all that sort of stuff, So I was like, they're exploring the the depths in which you can do a scene like this, because in like the normal mundane everyday world, that would be like you would have a power drill or something, but that was much more whimsical and interesting.
So you like a little bit of whimsy to your interrogation scenes and your torture scenes?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
That's exactly what I was wanting you to get from that.
Got it. Paul Stirrett coming to RPG Horror Stories soon. We move from one chair to another.
Yeah.
But before we do, let's jump back a bit in the timeline, all the way back to Bran's first day. Well, not first day. One of his early lessons at the Volstrucker Academy, the Soltrus Academy, even. Get the names right. See, I forget things. What did we think of the test that Trent Ickathon had put for the young mages, including the two soon-to-be very close companions of Bran,
Yes.
Erdwulf and Astrid?
Where are those fuckers? That's what I want to know. Where are those fuckers? What's going on there?
Those fuckers, indeed.
Yes.
Quite literally. I think this scene was wonderful in the sense it was showing how what Trent is looking for in one of these special prodigy mages that he's training. It also highlighted that, Caleb is talented. He's talented. He's a prodigy. He's thinking outside the box differently. And if it wasn't for his suggestion, both him, Astrid, and Airwolf wouldn't have succeeded. It also sets up the thing that wasn't really touched on in the campaign. I can't remember. I don't think it was, but they've brought it into the show, is that rivalry between him and Aurelia, which causes her to have more of a stake in that interrogation scene.
Yes.
Really just like fueling the fire, pun intended, of Caleb blowing up, pun also intended.
Although it was just that test that I was getting the impression, it was like, oh, the three who come over here pass and do well. It's only those three, I believe, that become Von Struckers, at least at that time. So
as per what we're seeing in the show, I think at that time it's them who become Volstruckers, and I don't know if right now this is where like the lore of the campaign and the lore of the show are diverging and things are changing in the adaptation, so I don't fully know. Maybe he's just refined his, because we got that close-up shot of some of them at their wrist, and they've got like that piece of green gem, the residuum in their wrist, so maybe he's refined the process of it.
What was that from again in Vox Machina?
Whitestone. It's from the city where Percy's from. It's on top of a big deposit of residuum, which is this magical stone that essentially allows you to amplify magic in a way. Two very important magical stones already sort of seen in the Mighty Nein, that and Broomstone, a levitating stone that Essek gives his mum for her little airship. Magic stones. A hallmark of D&D. So like the residuum was being used to clearly amplify the mage's powers, and to do that, these three mages were brought into a room, one each, starting with Bran, then Astrid, then Erdwulf, and Trent Ickathon would sit them down in another chair and proceed to take shards of these residuum chunks and very surgically and methodically inject them into the arms of the mage. This entire scene was it made my skeleton want to leave my body with how gruesome they depicted that. They did not need to go into that detail in the animation. Boys, tell me, what were your thoughts seeing this happen in regards of like the graphics of it, but also what it meant for Caleb as a character? Paul, please tell us what you thought.
It's just like getting a piercing, isn't it? On your hand, on your arms.
You got many piercings, Paul? Don't answer that.
None that I'd care to show on the podcast.
Paul really likes to learn from monarchy's decisions. So Paul, you liken it to a piercing. Would you get this? Would you have this body mod of residuum shards being embedded in your body?
Do I get to cast fire and shit afterwards?
I don't think so. Unless you've got it already, I don't think it does anything.
Oh, right. I mean, unless I was going to get something out of it, no, I don't think I would like the process of sharp crystal slowly being inserted into my arm multiple times. Like, the bit that actually got me with this scene was actually... The bit that was grosser for me wasn't actually the crystal going in. It was actually the scene afterwards where you can see them like all bulging in their arms.
Yeah, that's horrible. It was utterly horrible.
I was just like, it reminded... Do you know what it reminded me of, actually? I'm fine with it now, but as a young boy, the scarab beetles in the Brendan Fraser movie, The Mummy.
Yes, yeah.
Creeped me the fuck out. They were scarier to me than the actual mummy. Like, seeing them crawl under your skin, so it kind of reminded me of that.
There is an overarching theme every so often within Critical Role Campaign 2 of body horror. And I didn't expect them to come into it so soon. Now, I think body horror can be one of the most terrifying things. That and cosmic horror, those are my two horror genres that I'm like, okay, there's a lot of unplumbed depth here that can really fuck someone up. High five, Paul. But I wasn't ready for this. I was not ready for this. I knew, so like, in the campaign, we were only told of this event as like, this is what happened to me. This was put into my arm. I was experimented on. I was made this agent. We don't see it or have that role play of it happening. This hurt as a fan of the show, as a fan of Caleb. This physically hurt to like watch, and I had to turn away at points because it was so well performed by Liam O'Brien as Caleb, stunningly performed, and B, animated just far too well. Did you have similar thoughts on this, Craig? Elaborate, expand.
Yes, I agree. It was one of those moments where you kind of just go, "Oh no, I know what's coming." Straight away, I knew as soon as he came up to that door, I was like, and how they were dressed as well. Him and his pals, like how they were, how they looked going in. I was thinking, something's about to happen. I'm not gonna like. I don't know what it is, but something dodgy's about to happen. Yep. And and as soon as I saw that dark room, I was like, yeah, okay, here we go. Torture time. This is it. Trent's about to get his rocks off, quite literally. And that's.
You've been sitting on that joke, haven't you? You've been sitting on that one, haven't you, Minnie?
Well, you could say he's going to get his rocks in, but
yeah,
whatever. Semantics.
Semantics. But yeah, so I was a big fan again of that scene. Again, it's, as you say, the use of the chair again. It was fantastic. I really also enjoyed again just Trent. You know me. I love a villain. I do love a villain.
Compelling villain.
And he's just so like, and again, I still can't hear Mark Strong. I was listening for it this week, and I couldn't hear it.
Out of the two things I've seen Mark Strong in a few things, but this is the most recent thing I've seen, and the other most recent is him in the Gentleman films.
Oh yeah,
where he's doing a very interesting Scottish accent. I think.
Oh, you mean Kingsman?
Pendulum has swung all the
Kingsman.
Oh, Kingsman, that's the one. Not Gentleman. Kingsman. I think the pendulum has swung further onto he has really lost his voice has dissolved into that Zemnian accent. He's doing fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah, he is.
All the performances are amazing.
He's really good.
He just kind of gives you the vibe of that teacher back in the day who would just cane you if you like looked at him wrong or something. Just.
I'm worried for the school that you went to, Paul, because
I was going to say
punishment
that was banned by the time we were at school.
Yeah, it was.
What happened
by
there?
The time we were at school, surely.
Wait, what? This is.
Paul went to a Victorian school.
Didn't we all?
No, no. I think the thing that this scene, pulling it back to the episode, does is just immediately confirm that Trent is that abusive role within Caleb's story.
Yes.
And the fact that he's on the run from him and like running away from that abusive past and that indoctrinative past. Because as was it you, Paul, that said earlier that it was like, he has to have some responsibility for the actions he's taken. But I think when you're too lost in the sauce, sometimes you can't see the good and the bad. And I think it's more about, because he's a young impressionable man, young man that is just trying to appease this new adoptive father figure. He will do anything to prove that he's the best because he's been told for so long he's a prodigy, he's a star, he's this, he's that, he's it's like that almost like a chosen one prophetic thing that's going on, and he's having to fulfill it, and not realizing the cost.
There's another Star Wars reference.
It's epitomized as well by Trent using the term of endearment, little spark, which is what obviously he heard the parents use, and that's just like, that sums up his character so fucking well, that he's just taken a little bit of information and knows exactly how to manipulate the character. And I just think that's I think great.
For me, I think Trent Ickathon is one of those characters that he's very much established as an adversary or a bad guy within the course of the campaign. And now this as well. And it's one of those ones where you go, oh wow, Matthew Mercer did a fan-fucking-tastic job of writing this character. And we're seeing a lot more about this character that we didn't see, because everything we're seeing in the campaign is from the perspective of the players. We don't get to see these things. And we're now seeing how much work he clearly put into how manipulative and how bastardous this motherfucker is. And I think something that was highlighted very well and very, very tastefully is these three characters of Bran and Astrid and Erdwulf bonding through trauma, and this very intense, shared, horrific trauma, and becoming this throuple as part of it, and having that as their way to either like cope with the scenario or it's just from that close proximity of all those years together. I felt it was a very tasteful way to show it within the animation and within the pacing of the show. Were we expecting this sort of menage a trois, Paul?
Oh no, I wasn't expecting the throuple, but can kind of see how it would happen, and because they're, like I said, they're the only three that passed. You get the impression they're the only three he's given any real time to. They're the only three that get the crystals inserted. So they've probably got some kind of bond. I was going to share my probably not so hot take on that scene as well, though, with the house.
Please do.
I don't think his parents and Kat were actually traitors.
Oh.
And you think that? Yeah, I agree. I think it was all a test. It was all a test.
Completely a way to just eradicate his past and indoctrinate him further. Which is why I'm saying, like, it's kind of like a point. He's obviously had that brainwashing or indoctrinating up to that point. That is very much the point where you make the decision of what your life's gonna be, really, because you can see it, like, he's thinking about it at the time. He doesn't just do it, he is thinking, and he does decide to do it because he wants that sort of, and then he has the regrets. So I think it does make him more of the morally grey character, as I said, but I do appreciate it. He's been
and a
played
victim as well. He's been he's just a full victim of Trent's manipulation.
To jump on what I was just going to say, to just jump on what you said, Paul. I think that might be the reason why he leaves. I think you're right. I think he finds out that his parents were never traitors at all, and it was all a test, and it was all like a manipulation, and that'll be that. I think that's what the final straw was, as it were, and that's what would have made him snap and leave, or try to leave, and then obviously get his powers taken and all these kind of things. But yeah. I think the other thing I liked about that whole thing was the symmetry and the beautiful kind of show don't tell storytelling. When it goes past and we see the fence and we see the little iron thing, and then he then does it to the fucking door of the house and then welds it on. Like, fuck me, that's fantastic. That's beautiful writing.
Again, another Star Wars reference. It's like poetry. It rhymes, but this rhyme is one you don't want to hear. It was. I think that is. It's got to be one of the best sequences in this show, and we'll talk about it in just a moment. But I want to just get your opinions on the previous sequence, which is them raiding a Cobalt Soul monk monastery.
Oh yeah,
during a cadence.
Oh yeah.
I'm loving how you're describing Caleb as morally grey, Paul, because he's clearly done some bad things. I mean,
he's not a
blows
hero.
A dude's head off. He's not a hero. No, he's certainly not. He kills multiple people in cold blood, and in fact makes someone gut. Yeah,
I was going to say it makes the warden open his own chest and stomach. So yeah. It's dude's got imagination. We'll give him that.
Dude has got imagination. I think having that there, again, something that was alluded to in the campaign and not actually shown, having that, and then the beautifully horrible sequence at the end, juxtaposing each other and showing that he's done some terrible things, and this is the point where he's realizing, I have been manipulated. I have done something terribly, terribly wrong that I can't take back.
He also, it was also his idea, because when they're having that banquet scene just beforehand, they're going, what's the best way to deal with traitors? Oh, we should just execute them, or we should hang them up as a message.
Hang them up, burn their fields.
And then he's like, no, actually, that won't work as well. That'll work, but let me hit you with this. You see, we care about our farms back in the old country, so if you just torch everything, all the livelihoods, they won't have anything to live for anyway. And if some of them are inside the farmhouse, then,
so be it.
So it's his own suggestion as well. So it's kind of, he's the architect of his own suffering.
Yeah.
You can quote me on that if you like. Let's get that on a t-shirt.
We certainly will. We'll get that on a t-shirt for Paul. But I think really ultimately that's a testament to Liam O'Brien creating Caleb. There's a beautiful phrase that comes from an RPG called 10 Candles, which is you are your character's
Is that like 16
champion.
candles?
No, less candles.
Is it 16 or?
But the phrase,
16. Yeah.
No, are you thinking of
the famous 80s movie?
Yeah, 16 Candles.
Where they blow out the candles.
Joseph, you should know that because you watched Community. There was a whole episode of Community that centered around that reference. 16 Candles.
Oh,
remember Abed says it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So is it anything like that?
No, it's not like that.
Oh, you've lost
It's got
me.
nothing to do with the candles. Ultimately, there's a beautiful phrase in that RPG, which is you are your character's champion, but you are also ultimately their perfect foil. And I think something that's really important when these guys are making characters is like they've got the idea of what they'll be when they're a hero, but also these ideas of what will cause them to fall, what will cause them to be this. And Liam loves a tragic character. All of his characters have an element of tragedy to them, and I think Caleb is the one where he puts on the sad boy mask the heaviest, and he has all these horrible bits of past that the DM can draw from, and this one really takes the biscuit as we pull into this last sequence of the episode.
No.
Bo and Caleb fail to interrogate Aurelia. She manages to distract them. They focus on herself. She escapes. Caleb freezes the rest of his party in place using the runes that Trent had used in that first test and proceeds to chase her into the forest. he catches her, traps her with this like giant stone cat's paw, and proceeds to mimic certain actions he did in the past. We have this beautiful sequence where the show flicks between the past and the present, with Caleb as a young man boarding up his parents' house and burning the place to the ground.
Hang
While
on.
in present day, he's pinning this assassin against a tree and incinerating her.
Do you want to know the bit here that got me the most? I apologize for our purely audio listeners here, but
For the audio listeners, Paul is mimicking the shadow of a cat up against the window, scraping at the glass as a fire burns around it. We do apologize if these images conjured in your mind upset any of you, because it was harrowing.
They
to
upset
watch.
me.
It was awful to watch. Yeah,
They upset me. Fucking
it
hell.
upset Craig, the man of the stony visage,
Mm.
who will
famous
not break
cat
into any.
hater, Craig.
Famous cat.
Craig the cat hater?
Craig's not a cat hater. Craig.
Have we established that?
No.
Is that lore?
No.
Is that lore for Craig?
Craig is a famed.
Lore drop, boys.
I like animals better than people, so I'm much into yeah. So if any animal is hurt or dying, I'm going to be feeling that more than if it was a human, for sure.
Famed cat sympathizer.
That's it.
Andrew Mooney.
That's the quote. That's a T-shirt.
Yes, this sequence. It
Oh,
was so difficult to watch.
but I couldn't look away, Joseph. I was glued. I had again, as we talked about before, as a neurodivergent person myself, ADHD coming at my wazoo. Okay, but like I know when something is good when I freeze, and it happens a few times to me. You know, it's happened a few times over certain things, but I was completely frozen on my sofa, just like mouth slightly open, just watching it. And I was just like, this is fucking great. This is so good. It's such good television. It's such good storytelling. It was the way it was paced, edited together, cut together, just sublime. I mean, I can't speak highly enough of it at all.
The portion of the sequence for me that broke me was when it was rapidly flicking in between his face and like versions of him in the past and the present, and the perfect callback to that initial acceptance letter to the Solstice Academy. If it's combined with magical fire, it teleports back to its origin.
Mm-hmm.
We got that with that little bit of paper
Yes.
in her hand. Paul, did this do the same for you as it did for us in this sequence? You were utterly gripped by it, you couldn't look away, and it hurt you emotionally.
Yeah, I thought it was lit. This is the part. This is the part specifically in which I thought it was lit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it was quite the journey. Our young Caleb, middle-aged Caleb, however old Caleb is, has went on, isn't it? He's tracked down this halfling assassin who up till now has been murdering people left, right, and centre. She's now vulnerable, and we're finally seeing ye old Caleb come out, and he was kind of letting out all that grief that he's been through in his past on her. I'm not entirely sure if he had really intended to kill her when he left, but oh boy, does that kind of what ended up happening anyway. He probably has realised.
Yeah, I think he did intend to kill her though from the start. I think he did.
I think that's also, because he does leave. That's why he freezes them.
Mm-hmm.
I think part of that might have been to stop anyone from realising his past as well, though. And also that they don't want their position being given away or anything, them being tracked down by the rest of them. Although that's going to happen anyway, presumably because of aforementioned paper. Magic disappearing paper.
There's one portion of this animation that I really want to draw attention to. And it's the fact that he's clearly crying. No, not the cat. Wouldn't be able to make it through it with a dry eye. It's while he's like immolating the assassin, and he's clearly crying, but the heat of the flames is just causing the tears to evaporate off his face, and you've got those beautiful animation lines of the steam coming off of his face. It's such a fantastic touch of the animation. I cannot sing its praises highly enough. I think it's doing much more heavy lifting than we realize as audiences watching this. The animation is just so solid.
They do make a point as well earlier in the episode. Mr. Big Ick does say that the magic fire does burn hotter and more painful than regular fire as well. So you kind of get that. Does out of curiosity, does it take a toll on him at all, the fire?
What do you think?
It looked like it. He collapsed.
I mean, I'm not seeing anything like fizz other than like collapsing and exhaustion, so maybe that.
Well, mentally.
I was wondering if
as well.
Mentally, yeah. But I think that's more of who it was.
I think in the show, I think it's just exhaustion from all of this.
Right.
It could be coming from like a mechanical standpoint of when you are a mage, you've only got a certain amount of mana points that you can use to cast spells. If you're completely out, that could be you flavored as like completely fucking exhausted. If I remember correctly, in the campaign, there was like a mechanic he had about like becoming afraid or maddened by fire if he cast too many fire spells, or there was something there that I can't quite remember.
Like an arsonist.
So it might, yes, kind of.
Like he could just get into like a frenzy kind of thing.
Yeah.
If he keeps...
That's cool.
Okay, yeah.
So I think there was something there. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. Viewers, if you do remember, please put it down in the comments below. But yes, we leave Caleb, formerly Bran, down in the dirt, completely exhausted, and who is finding him but not the brave? His now self-imposed surrogate mum.
Sister, mother, child thing.
I'm so happy of how this is performed, because she's clearly been very much like feral, and now we're having this lovely little like light to the shade that we've already had for Not, and they're all becoming these wonderfully fully developed 3D characters in 2 dimensions, obviously. And then we are brought back to that lovely scene that we spoke about earlier, the conversation between Bo and Not. Ford is better. They've made the tea, and we get the last moment with a chair where it's slid towards Caleb, and Bo's like, right, it's time for you to fess up. Who are you? And this is why I think this is like a perfect episode of television, because as I said earlier, as soon as he sits down, he's like, it's a lovely line that he ends it on. What is it he says?
Let me tell you a story.
Sits down.
Let me tell you a story.
That's what it is. Let me tell you a story. Yeah.
Did you ever hear
you
of the
could
tragedy?
Just immediately put it back. No, it's not about Darth Plagueis the Wise, Paul. Shut it. But you could start this story again, and it loops perfectly, and I love that, and it was so beautifully done. That would be sort of like the way I sum up this show, this episode in particular. It's a perfect 46 minutes of TV that would loop, and they are going to struggle to beat the emotional impact of this episode, I reckon. Paul, what are your closing thoughts on the way this episode ended? And to roll 2 questions into one, where is it going next? What is your predictions for next episode and beyond?
I think the episode ended pretty much the way it probably had to. We've been teased throughout the whole episode, like, who do you work for? What's your past? Tell me your past. Hey, you, stranger, tell me your past. And now, like, he's finally given up, and he's like, all right, fine, I'll tell you about my past. After he's probably, as we mentioned, immolated the halfling assassin. Hey, it's cheaper than therapy. So after that, he's burnt her to a crisp. I feel like we're going to find out we're probably not going to hear the whole story because we've obviously just seen that ourselves. So we'll probably cut to them going like, "You were one of them guys." Like, what's? And maybe there's going to be some kind of rift, like, "Why are we even traveling together? Like, what's this?" And then we might have some kind of, "Oh, they're going to come for you. We got to get away from you," or he's like, "I got to get away from you because this is, they probably already know we're here. My magic amulet of hiding is broken, and they'll be chasing us." So I think potentially we might see a splitting up, and then something will happen that they're like, "Oh no, they're kind of after all of us now because." Or we're better together, or like some characters I don't really see why, but I feel like they'll split up and then realize they're better together because something will happen in which some assassin or some monster is going to come and somebody's going to nearly get it, and they're like, "No, I like you." Like, Not will not separate from Caleb, for example. But I think Caleb will want to go on his own potentially. But what's her face? The monk lady's gonna want to continue her investigation. She's not gonna want to leave Caleb either. She probably wants to arrest him. So that I feel like there's gonna be like tension on that front that might lead to separation. Temporary separation, but separation.
Very interesting theories, Paul. Very interesting. So they're going to go against the main philosophy of D&D: never split the party. Craig, are your predictions aligning with Paul's?
Almost the same, I would say, with what Paul. I think what Paul is going for, I think, is probably kind of along the right lines of what's going to happen. I think. However, before I say that, I would just like to say it looks like I've got what I wanted. Because Caleb is my character that I wanted. I think we've just had we've had the bit before. We've obviously seen him. So when I was seeing the redemption arc playing out, I suppose. But will it always be that way? I don't know. Will he make some questionable choices along the way, like he did this episode? Will he be tempted back? And as you said, Joseph. So my prediction, again, this is more beyond, is that obviously we're dealing with these spirits in this, and what's the name of the big MacGuffin device thing again? The dark elves.
The beacon.
Yeah, the beacons. Yeah. So obviously there's related to reincarnation, spirits, life after death, things like that in the beacon. So I'm wondering whether Trent is going to promise certain things to Caleb. Like, we can do this together. We can bring back your parents. We can undo it all. We can bring back your cat. We can do it. We can do all these wonderful things together if you join me and come back. And how tempted will he be to do such things? That's my kind of like Caleb Trent kind of prediction that I've kind of got in my head at the minute. In terms of next episode, kind of going forward, I think I kind of agree with Paul. Apart from the separation part, I think it's going to be a case of them kind of realizing together, right? Okay. We've got to see this through now. We've got to kind of come together and kind of take on this threat, finish the investigation, see where it leads, and kind of see. I'm interested to see though who the next episode focus will be on, because obviously we've just had a Caleb-centric episode. Who's going to get the next deep dive? I wonder. That's what I'm kind of interested to see happen next. My money's on Ford. I think Ford is going to be getting some kind of
Ford.
getting something next. I think he might be getting a bit of backstory.
Not
we don't know
the goblin. No, we don't.
So I think.
Can she drink it? Not the goblin. Yes, she can.
Yes, she can. I think you're both of you are kind of like skirting around things that could happen. I think, Mooney, you're right with the pacing of the show. I think Ford is going to get the next sort of like treatment of that. I don't think we will get anything on either Jester or Bo or not yet.
Next season.
I don't think so. I think, especially Jester, I think they're going to save Jester for when things are a little calmer in the narrative, unless like we're on an adventure. However,
are we going to see more of Jester's mum? That's what I want to know.
Jester's mum has got it going on, and if I think we definitely do, we see a lot of Jester's mum in appearance-wise.
We've already
in
seen
the campaign
quite a lot of Jester's mum. So yeah.
Paul wants to see more. She will definitely return as a character. Marion Lavore is a very, very fun character that her and Jester play off wonderfully together. And there's a few plot points that I do want to happen. I don't know if we'll have time. But I'm going to make a prediction that another fan favorite character will appear in episode 8. One that we will definitely see multiple times within the same scene. And that'll be my little sneaky riddle to use all. If not, I hope to be pleasantly surprised by this show. It's a wonderful show. How are we enjoying it, gentlemen? Overall, on on the Withmate scale, 1 to 10, where is it sitting for you?
Oh, it's at a 9 at the minute for me. As of current,
is that a 9?
Oh, 100%. After that episode, I can't put it any lower.
So it's sitting at a 9 for you, Paul. Where's it sitting on the scale for you?
Yeah, 8 or 9. Actually, I was like, do I have to wait a whole week for the next episode? So yeah, no, I'm enjoying it for sure.
8 or 9 for me. It's also at a 9. But gentlemen, can we agree that it's not just a 9? It's a mighty 9.
Mighty Nein
for this show. That is all we have time for this week. Thank you for joining us dissecting this 5th episode. We hope you have enjoyed. If you have any agreements or disagreements or thoughts and theories of your own as both a new fan of the show or someone who is coming to the show as a lifelong fan of Critical Role, please keep your comments spoiler free down below. Not just for us, for us who haven't seen the campaign or know what's coming, but also for other viewers as well. But where can the lovely people find us online? Craig, where can the lovely people find you?
You can find me on all social media platforms. It's at Craig Andrew Mooney.
Paul, where can the lovely people find you?
If you were a magical assassin and you fired some poison at somebody and it hit their stomach, and you were to sift through the poison pus-filled gaping maw that was the poisonous attack that was in their stomach. If you were to sift through that and opened it up, you might find my Instagram, which is at @StirItStory.
Lovely, thank you. You can also find me on most social medias at Josef Boone, where I do silly voices. But the main thing is, we don't want you to follow us. We are so close to 100 subscribers on YouTube.
So close.
To join the crew. We're so close. If we do, close. Paul's going to do his own sexy calendar shoot at 100 subscribers.
We keep promising all these different things.
Dressed as Jester's mum.
Sneak peek of January.
At 100 subscribers, Paul's going to show you that piercing that he's not showing. No, seriously, we're so close to it. Please join the crew. It'll be fantastic to have you along. Please like, share, subscribe. Tell your mates, tell your dog, tell your local shopkeeper, tell that enemy you have, because that enemy may become your friend, because the most unlikely people join together in the most unlikely of places. That is all for us this week on reviewing the Mighty Nein series on Amazon Prime. Join us next time when we will be discussing the next episode, episode 6, Many Gifts. But until then, laters on the Menji.
Burn, baby, burn. Wizard Inferno. Burn, baby, burn.
He kept that in his back pocket for the end. I liked it.